Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. Tonight, we'll be looking at the topic, how women can handle sexual assault in the workplace. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun, and our facilitator tonight is a regular, Oluwalola Grace Abraham. Please put on your video, please. I'd like to read our profile just in case some of us may just be getting to meet her for the first time. Grace serves as the CEO of GFA Foundation, and she's also the co-founder of Talent Expert Solutions. She has over 15 years of experience in people management, project and business strategy, learning and development, and also leadership. She has led successful ventures and helped in market growth across various ecosystems and also countries. She holds a master's degree in International Human Resource Management from VIU Universidad Internacional de Valencia, Spain, and she's a certified HR tech practitioner and also project manager. She's a member of the prestigious Forbes Black community and known for her visionary leadership and commitment to fostering an inclusive and also innovative company culture. Grace co-founded Talent Expert Solutions, a global institution for talent development, HR tech, and recruitment, startup leadership consulting. Beyond her professional life, she's a teacher of the world and actively involved in working with various girl-child initiatives and helping to shape future of young girls, mentoring and pointing them to opportunities, especially in the tech space. She continues to strive for excellence, driven by a commitment to making a positive impact in our field and community. Speaking to us tonight on the topic, very important, sensitive topic, how women can handle sexual assault in the workplace. Let's welcome Oluwalola Grace Abraham. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It's so good to be here, and I do apologize for the delay earlier. It wasn't deliberate. It's very good to be here, and I do not take this for granted. I want to say thank you to my Oga, Uncle, I call him Oluyemi. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for the beautiful work you're doing among the HR mentorship group. So thank you. We're learning and we keep learning. So this evening, we're going to be talking about how women can handle sexual assault in the workplace. I want to first of all start by saying not only women can go through sexual assault in the workplace, even men go through sexual assault. And so for my brothers in the house, all of us are going to be learning together because I know it's more prevalent from the male gender to female gender, not as much as we have from the female gender to the male gender, but it does happen. So today, we're going to be talking about how we can manage harassment or assault in the workplace as men and as women. I want to start by sharing quickly some stories. Some of them may be just me making something up, and some of them might just be what has happened. So the first one, BC, not real name, a copper, just finished school and then was in our service, and she was posted to a construction company somewhere in Nigeria, in Lagos. And when she got there, after everything, she was assigned to work on a project on another client center. So it's a construction company. And she was reporting directly to the head of engineering, electrical, because she studied electrical engineering. And so they will go to site from time to time. And when she joined this boss, this HOD, who happens to be a man in his 50s, took her like a child, or so she thought, would tell her, feel at home. How is your dad? How is your mom? How is everything? Made her to feel at home. I said, if you need anything, just come to me. And with time, she became very relaxed around him, because this is somebody like about the age of her father. And interestingly, this is actually also the person who leads the morning devotion in the workplace. So it's not like call him pastor. So it was an easy thing to relax rather making passes. So on a particular day, they were at the site and he held her by the waist and said, wow, your boyfriend is lucky. This is what he's enjoying. And she was shocked because she wasn't expecting that to come from somebody she respected. So she turned and said, so I don't have a boyfriend. And he was like, how can you not have a boyfriend? Beautiful girl like you. And she felt, okay, I know I don't have a boyfriend, sir. And every day, sir, you should have a boyfriend. And that went, and to her, it was mixed feelings. Is this man trying to be funny? Or is it just whatever? And she told herself, so the part of her was telling her this is a red flag. Another part was telling her, no, it's just normal thing. Don't overthink it. So that things went on, and then the man will call her to his office. How are you doing? How's everything? Have you found a boyfriend? She wasn't finding it funny, but she couldn't tell anybody, so she kept quiet. And then on a particular day, this man started making passes at her. I've liked you from when you joined the organization, blah, 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 blah. And I want you to be my girlfriend. Nobody has to know. Nobody has to know, with you and all the stuff. And she was shocked. Now, she couldn't do anything, but she told the man, sorry, I cannot date you. Number one, you're my father's mate. Number two, you're my boss. Nothing like that should happen. HR had told me when I came in that relationships are not even allowed within this organization. So, and the man will not have it. So she left his office in anger. And the next thing, 2 days later, HR called her to HQ and said the man had reported her that she wasn't pulling her weight, she wasn't working, she just comes to work to sit down, which wasn't true, not even really, wasn't true. And so she went back to meet the man and they were going to take her off and maybe write NYC. She went back to meet the man, say, but you went to report me, but this is not happening. And the man told her, is either you do what I want or consider yourself out. I will make sure I spoil you. I'll do this, I'll do that. Now, it happened in an environment where they're not allowed to use phones at site. So the question is, well, how will she do? It was difficult to report to anyone. It was difficult to say anything, yet she was dying inside. So that is one of the stories that could have happened to anyone. This is a couple that will be in her early 20s with a man in his 50s. And this happens from time to time. Another case that I want to also bring as we start is Dapo. Dapo joined the bank, one of the leading banks in Nigeria. And Dapo is very handsome, tall, elegant, dresses well, bankers dress well anyway. And what is his colleague who's in operations with him will always compliment him. Dapo, you look sharp, you look good. And he will like, oh, thank you and everything. Until she started getting close, she'll buy him lunch. To Dapo, that was normal. That was okay. That was not a big deal. Until the day they were talking and she started rubbing his birds. I was like, fine guy. If you toast me, I would accept and everything. And he had to tell her to stop. But she wouldn't have it. She kept pestering. She kept going out of her way to do things. And on a particular day, she actually sent her nudes to Dapo. And by this time, Dapo had it, and Dapo went to HR, who happens to be a man, and to say, I am having this issue with Irene, my colleague. She's been making passes at me, and I've told her in clear terms I wasn't interested. But now she has sent me her nudes. And of course, HR just said, well, you're a guy now, woman, they toast you, they feel anyhow. If it's me, and everything. So I'm giving these two different perspectives to say the times when it's harmless, the time when it's very harmful. it is always harmful. But it starts from the harmless part, and then you start from the small one, and then the handshake goes to the elbow. If not properly addressed from the elbow, it begins to go to the other part of the body that hand should not get to. So, so we're going to be talking about how women and of course men can handle sexual assault or harassment in the workplace. Let's start by even looking at what is sexual harassment in the workplace. So, understanding sexual harassment. What is sexual harassment? It is any non-consensual, let's put that, there's no consent. You don't have my consent to touch me. You don't have my consent to do this. So it said any non-consensual sexual act or behavior. So it's not just the act itself. Sexual harassment or sexual assault is not when somebody has removed somebody's skirt or when somebody has touched somebody's bum. It is even from the words that are saying that the flag starts to fly. This is harassment. This is assault. Most times people think it is when the act has happened, maybe it's become a rape or when it's become a threat or anything. That's when it is sexual assault. But we need to also know that there's something is beyond the act. Even the jokes, the things that people say, see your bum, see your whatever, see this, see that. And we see it sometimes. And I would say in a part of the world, in our environment, there are things that we take as jokes that are not supposed to be jokes. I remember years ago in one of the organizations I used to work, guys used to, I wasn't in HR then. Maybe I will have had to do something. But looking back now, it was harassment. So there was a young lady that they used to call Two-Face Idibia in the workplace. And the only reason why they call her is because of her body shape. She's blessed in the front and blessed at the back. So they call her Two-Face Idibia. And guys will be like, Two-Face Idibia is coming and everything. And that was harassment because at the end of the day, and a lot of them, of course, were asking her out. And she will always be like, no, I don't want this, I don't want that. But in her own case, nobody could threaten her job. But the fact that those things were even happening, those catcalls, those everything, to the point that she actually even found out that that's what they were calling her, that's sexual assault. And in a good environment where the policies, where the laws are very strict, that can be reported and that can be a basis for disciplinary action against the people who are doing this. So it is any non-consensual sexual act or behavior. And in the workplace, it includes unwanted advances. So, do you want to go to lunch with me? It may look harmless, but once we're not comfortable, please, we're going to get to, setting boundaries. Once we are not comfortable or we just sense, and women, we are blessed with this gift of discernment. So if your senses is saying this is not pure, I think it's better to quickly do the needful and set that boundary. I always tell people when you get to a new organization, you're new in the place, check out what the culture is, but set your boundaries. Set your boundaries. Know what others want. Know what they don't want. Know what you want and what you don't want. And let it be very clear. I always say it. Everybody that's worked with me, they know I always say it. You don't have my permission to be rude to me. The same thing. You don't have my permission. You cannot even sexually assault me because as friendly as I can be, you know my stand from when I'm coming in that this one, no, there's some things she cannot do. Maybe from the place of my faith, you will know, even without putting my big Bible on the table, you will know what I stand for. So, but it's good to realize that comments, gestures, and of course, when it becomes coercive actions of a sexual nature, then it is assault. But I don't even want to go to that coercive part. Oh, no, you must live with me. If you must be promoted, no, this KPI, this PIP, this performance management, we're doing this performance, whatever that we're doing. this appraisal season. So if you don't meet me here, you will not get promoted. Oh, I will mark you down. No, we're not even talking. That's extreme, and that does happen in a lot of organizations, and that's why I'm sure the boss, our big brother on this call, I'm sure that's one of the reasons why this is close to his heart, and he wants us to discuss it. But so we're saying it's not just when it becomes the do, even the little advances, when the lady is always coming to the office with this and flaunting the things, showing what her mama gave her, that is sexual assault. I'm sure people will say, oh yeah, most times men don't mind it, but there are men who mind it. And if such men are said, please stop it, I don't appreciate it. If the lady keeps doing it, then that becomes an assault, that becomes harassment, and that should be reported and, of course, managed as soon as possible. I hope we're together, and I hope we're getting something. So what are different types of assaults that we have? Verbal. So all the sexual jokes, hey, babe, see you, that shape. Those are sexual jokes. Those are very serious sexual jokes. Comments, those, I mentioned the two-faced DBR thingy. Rather they're saying it to themselves, or they're saying it to other people. Take, for example, you go to Yaba Market. I don't know about now, but years ago when we go to Yaba Market, the Ojurin part, you find the Igbo guys fooling, fine girl, see you. Those are, to them, it's just nothing, but it is something. It is abuse on a large scale. And when we see things like that, especially in the workplace, we should address it immediately as HR if we do notice it. Because there are times when people do it, and maybe because they're used to it and nobody has spoken about it. But thank God this is HR people talking. If we notice that, not because it's happening to us, if it's happening to anybody, it's our responsibility to quickly stop it. And say, no, such languages will not be used in this environment. It's very key. Another type is non-verbal, staring, the gestures, displaying sexual images, sending suggestive messages to colleagues or receiving them. These are ways where our sexual minds are being, and it's not just that, you can be assaulting my brain. I don't want to have anything to do with anything now, and then you keep sending me images that can trigger something. That's harassment. Very, very key. And of course, the unwanted, the physical. So it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal, and it can be physical, unwanted touching, hugging, or forced contact. Now, you want to say, when does hug become a sexual assault? For somebody, I always say it, I love to hug a lot. I hug, in fact, I don't know if anybody hugs more than I do. I love to hug people. It's just me. But if somebody comes to me and says, I don't like to be hugged, I will be stupid to still continue to want to hug them. And as much as I love to hug, I look at my background, I look at the people I'm hugging. There are times when I want to say, most times I start from female. So everybody knows that I'm not a lesbian. So I start from female. So when the guys now feel, okay, you want me to hug, I hug them. And for me, I believe that I love to hug. I believe it can be therapeutic, but I know I have to draw the line so that I don't begin to act like I'm crossing the line with the opposite sex. Very important. What are the myths and realities about what are the myths and realities about so I just want to check this out about this is blocking. Okay. About sexual assault. I say, okay, if people feel if the person is not screaming or the person is not complaining, then it's fine. No, there are times when people are not complaining because they don't even know how to complain. Maybe the policy is not clear about complaints, about reporting structure for things like this, or maybe other people are doing it. So, or maybe it's already happening. We've seen organizations, we've heard of organizations where somebody is a serial abuser within the organization, and everybody knows, and nobody can talk. So when it gets to your own turn, you two have to keep quiet, or maybe you're afraid, you're now running and everything. So it is not until it becomes past those, and then that it is no, it is not. When it is either verbal or non-verbal, then it is assault, and it must be addressed the way it should be addressed. And the reason why people don't report sometimes is fear, then shock. Like the issue I mentioned, the example I gave earlier, the lady was in shock because this is somebody that was supposed to be a father figure, like macaroni, father figure, but father figure became a father, what we don't know. And sometimes when it's now like the superpowers in the organization that are actually even the ones involved, then it becomes a bit difficult. And sometimes because of position and power, they silence their victims. And most times, of course, it's by known individuals. So when we understand that this is what they will know how to understand that, okay, this handshake is getting to the elbow, and this elbow shake is getting to the shoulder. And of course, we know after the shoulder where the hand is going, if it's not quickly taken off. So, and making sure that we identify what it is, identify how to handle it, report it where we have to. And if it's a place we cannot report, we will take our actions either to leave or to not leave. That has to be done, and that has to be done when we have to do it, especially when it is not that we're enjoying it. There are times when people enjoy things like this. If you're enjoying it and it's consensual, don't forget the first thing we talked about was non-consensual. If it is consensual, depending on what the policy is saying in the organization, then that may not be a problem. But when it is non-consensual, then respect is breached, and that has to be addressed. I hope we're together, and I hope we're getting something. So how do we recognize the signs of sexual abuse or sexual harassment or sexual harassment? Number one way of recognizing it, so we have the inappropriate behavior. So repeated unwelcome compliments. So today you're wearing something and somebody is, oh, you look fine. Oh, this dress accentuates your shape or more. See your ass. That's not I don't think that's a professional language, but it does happen. And when somebody starts doing that, the earlier you say, thank you, but actually don't appreciate that. I'm not going to change my dressing for you because you have an issue with yourself, because this is how I dress. But we will need to address it. So when we notice people have, and that is inappropriate, when we notice people, or maybe they're beginning to give unwelcome compliments, or more, your breast is growing bigger, what are you doing? And I'm sure some people may feel, oh, this is extreme, or these examples I'm giving, they're extreme, but there are things that happen. There are things that happen in some organizations. And this may even be peers, may not even be from maybe a superior person. It may be from a peer, it may be from your colleague who's on the same level as you, with you, and then they're saying this. So when there's repeated unwelcome compliments, it becomes inappropriate, and that's a sign. And of course, anything that is inappropriate must be appropriately dealt with. And then touching that feels uncomfortable. You want to hold my waist, but somebody is always holding somebody's waist, or somebody is saying, doing things, touching this thing. It might look as innocent as possible, but what you cannot take, please do not allow. So very, very important. Those are signs. And then, of course, being cornered, stared at, or followed. And that happens. It sounds creepy, right? But it does happen in the workplace. If we notice that someone in the workplace, either a boss, a peer, even a subordinate, I've heard of drivers who ask their bosses out before. And this is a driver, her personal driver, who takes her to work all the time. And then one day the driver decided to shoot his shot in the car and said, Madam, I know, sorry, I'm just trying to, okay. I know that you're not my class. I know you're bigger than me, but I know you are single. I'm also single. I don't mind. I like you. You're a very good person. Don't look at me. Oh, my future is bright. And so that's even the driver to the owner. And whatever he had is in his mind, I don't know. Whether or not he thought the lady will, maybe okay, he has seen some home videos and they thought, okay, Nollywood is livelihood and they can shoot it short. So things like this happen. And when we start noticing it, it might not even be part of it, might just be somebody you see that this person is always staring at you. Now, I'm not saying anybody that stares at us wants to is assaulting us, but too much look also can be a problem. So maybe you are looking at, okay, this person is always looking at, okay, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to be careful than to be carefree and then find out that this is happening. It's very important. And of course, the other sign of sexual harassment is abuse of authority. Somebody saying, if you want me to promote you, if you know you want to stay here for your youth service, if you know you want to amount to anything in this company, then you will do what I want you to do. You do this, you'll be this, you'll be that, or maybe they're just intimidating or threatening, following rejection. That is when people now bring the power part of it that, do you know who I am? I am the chief, whatever, whatever. And of course, we know there are times when this is actually coming from the owner of the business. And the thing is, salary, career is in the hand of this person. And they feel that, oh, yes, because of that, they can wield it. And then they're saying you have to do it or not and everything. Or maybe they're just calling you on, it could be calling somebody at unholy hours, maybe calling midnight and say, I want to check on you. And you're wondering, did I say I lost my dog? Or did I say I hit my leg? Why are you calling me to check on me at midnight? Of course, me, I don't pick that. I don't expect anybody to pick that kind of call, because I think it gets to the point where we have to begin to draw the line about what time you can call an employee and what time you cannot call them. In one of the places I've worked where this one is not harassment. This one is a case of they like to work around the clock because they start off where one of the owners will also call at 10 o'clock. I had to make it of, please do not call me anything after 7 p.m. My letter says 9 to 5. I give you 2 hours. So if I pick your call at 8 o'clock, it better be very important. And if it's not a job that I have to do in my sleep, why should I pick your call? And you now want to tell me what I'm going to do the following day, then make it 9 o'clock when I resume, or 8 o'clock, send it by email, or send it on Teams, then I can pick it. So very, very important. And in that case, I drew the line, everybody knew. It was clear. And he knows that if he likes call, I will just be looking at the phone, I will pick the call. Because that's so the same thing. When you start noticing somebody calling at some time, sending some messages, because it might just start from messages, share it with 5 people for you to receive. So recognizing it will help us to deal with it. And we have to understand that consent must be enthusiastic, informed and ongoing. We must, okay, we'll talk about consent later, but this is just like consent is key. You don't have my consent to be rude to me. You don't have my consent to make this kind of remark about how I look, about what I don't look like. The fact that I've made my hair, I made it for myself. Oh, somebody can pay me compliments. I like you. Oh, thank you. But when it begins to say, this is, let's reduce it. We know where we're going. Let's be very clear about it. So very, very important. So when we give, either we give consent or we don't give, it must be enthusiastic, it must be informed and ongoing. A power balance. So let's say it's boss and subordinate. I know it can make it look like a consent, but when we put our boundaries in place and we enforce it, we keep communicating it, people either understand it and stay within, and if they cannot stay within, then we can begin to think of maybe way out of it. I need to be sure I can be heard and we're together. because I'm on full screen, I can't see anything. So how do we prevent sexual harassment in the workplace? Number one is to set boundaries. And this is for male and female. We know females are more vulnerable because we're emotional beings, and men are carried away by the things they see. So they see the things, they see the shape, they see the size, they see the things, they know what turns them off and on. So they see. So most times, women are the most vulnerable when we talk about sexual harassment or sexual anything in the workplace. But how do we prevent it? Do we say that people should wear very, very big dresses so that nobody sees your shape? But trust me, some people can still also lust after people who are wearing agbada. It is just in them. It is peak for them. But how do we prevent sexual harassment in the workplace? Number one way to do that is we set boundaries. And it's better to set it early enough. And when we're setting boundaries, we must communicate that boundaries. Let everybody know what our boundaries are. You cannot come to me with gist. There's some gist you cannot come to me with because you know this is what grace stands for. So for everyone, and I'm not saying this to HR people, I'm saying to everybody, every female out there, how they can manage or prevent harassment, sexual harassment toward sexual harassment in the workplace. Number one is set boundaries. And when we're setting boundaries, use the word personalize it. I do not like this. I am not comfortable with that. And reinforce it, communicate it. So set it when you're setting it. This is the boundary I can go. And it's good to identify the things that we can take and the things that we cannot take. For example, I cannot stand somebody touching my head. So you cannot be my colleague and you'll be touching my head. So before you start it, so by the time you're coming, the moment your hand is coming, I'll have to move my head. I said, no, don't do that. So if you now want to do it, and I don't care if you're the one paying my salary, you cannot touch my hair. So that is one of my own boundary, because I know what that can do to me as a person. Don't ask me the question what it can do, but I know what it can do to me. So I will not allow anybody to touch my head. So I put that in place. It's not like I'm going to put it on my table and say, this OG does not like her hair to be touched. No, but the first time you want to try it, I'll let you know. Oh, sorry, nobody touches my head. So I'm not comfortable with that. Hope you understand. So it's good to make it clear, because if we just feel so that they will not say, let them say, they will always be saying. So let people know what the boundaries are, set it, communicate it, and reinforce it at all times. Let people know. And let's look at the issue of hugs. If you're somebody who I'm very comfortable with people hugging me, male or female, I don't care. Doesn't do me anything. But if you're somebody that maybe you are sensitive to things like that, it's good to say, oh, sorry, I don't like being hugged. Or maybe somebody wants to hug you and you just do like this, they will understand. If they don't understand, then you let them understand. But setting boundaries is one of the ways to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. Very, very important. Set the boundaries, communicate it, and be very assertive when you're doing it. I do not like this, or I am not comfortable with that, without being rude, especially when it has to do with people who are higher, without being rude. Dear sir, I will appreciate this if this does not happen. I don't appreciate it. Thank you very much for understanding. Very, very important. Second way we can prevent sexual harassment in the workplace is to avoid being in the same place, in isolated place with someone who is already making us uncomfortable. So for example, a person is in an organization and the person who is already maybe making these passes or something, which is already, they're already seeing it, may not have even said anything, but they're already seeing this sign. And they always maybe meet in a place, maybe there's maybe kitchen, maybe somewhere, maybe going to the bathroom, because male and female toilets are close together, not together, but about the same place. If one has to like avoid not being caught in the same place with that person, very, very important. So you don't want to now allow somebody who is already making you uncomfortable to be the one giving you a ride because they live in the same area. Please jump on the bus and God will save you. You will not fall inside one chance, because you have to avoid what can lead to what you don't want. Very, very important. And like I said, women, our instincts are always very, very correct. Sometimes it looks like we're overthinking things. Sometimes it is not that we're overthinking, it's our instinct telling us, be careful of Mr. Dowda. He's a sexy guy. You don't want to get into that. So trust your instinct. If it feels wrong, it likely is. So very, very important. We're talking about how to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. We must not be caught. So for anybody that we notice that this is beginning to, let's make sure that we're not caught in the same place. And say, for example, you're going to enter into an elevator, and if you cannot handle it, be careful. So for example, let's say, for example, you work in a high rise, and then you have pressed the elevator, and then it's open, and this person, or maybe you're already in and this person enters, you may want to reduce the level you are going to and quickly change the floor you're going to, so that you're not caught in the place for long with that person. And of course, identify allies at work. Now, let me say this, nobody is your friend in the workplace. We're all colleagues. And when we are colleagues, like I always say, colleagues are not friends, they're not family. Even though HR people were quick to say, oh, welcome to the family. Yes, we know we're family for the purpose of the job. But we need to identify allies at work, and maintain regular communication with trusted friends or mentors. So, but we need to pick that very, very carefully, following our instincts also, because those allies at work may be working for Radio Nigeria, and then they may be the one that Google or maybe Facebook and have designated to work in that organization. They might just be the ones spreading news about you. So pick that carefully. If you do have a friend outside work, maybe that can be, or maybe somebody in our practice. We still have we have fantastic people who are HR people. We can talk to them and say, this is going on, and I need help. And they'll be able to put us through on how to handle this. And when you say no, please mean no. No gray areas, no compromise. Do not compromise. When you have said no, if they bring shawarma, no matter how much love we have for shawarma, please do not collect the shawarma. Because somebody they have known us so much, they know what we like, and then they start bringing the gift. Somebody that we already know is already, please, when you say no, mean no. Very, very important. And let the no continue to be no. As long as you don't want it to happen, let it continue to be no. Very, very important. So when it has happened in the workplace, what do we do? How do we handle it? Number one is we report. Okay, number one is, let's say it has happened, it's like we've been abused, or it's a physical thing that's happened, or a verbal thing that's happened, and we are rattled already. The first thing is we need to quickly get to a safe place, away from them. So for example, somebody's already holding and almost removing cloth. If we can wiggle away, please go to a safe place, document the incident, what happened, when and where. And if there is witness, it's just that most times when sexual harassment occurs, there's no witness, because the perpetrators will make sure that other people will not be there. Or if they're going to be there, they will make it look like it's not happening. If it's possible to get a recording of maybe the times where you have a person may need to bug such a person, especially, okay, we're still going to get there, especially when it has to do with people who are higher in authority, maybe the owner of the business or the your direct reporting line, or someone in the organization who has a say, or maybe HR. I think there was a time we had somebody posted something, I think last year or 2 years ago, about an incident of sexual harassment that involved an HR. So it was HR that was actually like the one that was not the victim now, but the one who was perpetrating this act of sexual harassment, and was sex for role. And I remember we talked about it then, and a lot of people were like surprised. But these are things that happen. You know, you want that job, then you have to meet me. And some people don't mind, some people do it gladly. And we've heard cases where people are going to look for job and they dress seductively so that they look at, because they have checked and they know that the HR is male. So let's package our stuff and use what we have to get what we want. But it is knowing where to draw the line, know where it is no longer gray, it is no longer white or black, and then taking action, very important. So the first thing is you want to get to a safe place, document the incident. We're talking about when it happens in the organization. Well, document the incident, quickly do a report, what happened, when, where, and let's pray there's CCTV that's not been turned off when this incident happened, because it will happen, it will help. And then report immediately with HR to HR, though they report to us, right? But if it is us that is affected, then we'll have to look for somebody within the system who is higher in authority to report to. So speak with your HR or follow the organization's reporting channel. And then if it's somebody that you cannot easily report, or you feel that the system is already failed, there's some environments where things like that happen. There will be maybe a whistleblower or an anonymous reporting system, maybe what will be used to report this, but it must be reported. And if a victim feels, I can't report this, it's going to, maybe for whatever reason, I'm going to be victimized or anything, maybe they have to start planning their exit, because if you cannot deal with it, then you may have to go out. But I'll say, if someone close to me comes to me with a report that this is happening, and because of what maybe the structure or whatever is going on in the organization is, they can't report. For me, I can help them to look for a way of making it a big case, maybe put it on social media if they can get enough evidences. Now, the question we want to ask is, that appropriate? Well, I don't know, but even the Bible says the sinner should not go unpunished. So maybe that's very important. So I'm quickly checking. My the chat room. What extreme compliments have you been given before? Please share here. Okay, somebody said, I've been told by a coworker that my boob looks good on this dress. It got a slap. Ooh, nice one. Got a slap on the wrist when I complained. But that's extreme. If we would like to share experience, let's raise our hands so we can. Okay, that's very good. Imagine a colleague saying he noticed you wore trousers throughout the week, 2 weeks ago, and this week you have been wearing skirts. Let's give it all the right place. Compliments on monitoring sexual spirit. I think it might be from him. It might be compliments, but that leaves some bad taste in the mouth. You may want to quickly address that. Somebody cannot be saying it hugs the feet, all the right places. It's more of a monitoring sexual spirit. Please share how to set boundaries. Okay, yeah. Okay. Somebody wrote, I stopped making jokes or joining in jokes that encourage inappropriate behavior. I do if it isn't official, don't come to me. Very important. Very, very important. I believe seeking consent before complimenting and touching someone of the opposite is essential. So, okay, right. Okay, somebody said, well, I quit my job because of this. I'm jobless at the moment. Yes, if you have to do that for your sound mind and for your peace of mind, please do it. Very, very important. So 3, support. Okay, we talked about support system. Get someone who can be trusted and share with them. Very, very important. It may be someone even outside the organization you want to confide in that this is what is going on. And trust me, there will be somebody there to help. And if it's HR that is having this issue, maybe somebody here, because we know the rule, we know the thing, and there's certainly something that is a disrespect in the system, and then it's coming to us. Number one, number one is we must put policies that actually will not allow this to happen. So let there be policies and let it be communicated up and down, up to the owner of the business. I find out that sometimes the owners of the business don't care about the policy. But the times when you have to put it and say it and go through it, send it to them, talk about it in management meeting. If you have talked to him, when you have meetings with them, let them know that this is not allowed. So it's very, very important. Now the question is, okay, let me go to the next slide. I think that is where the next one. Okay, no. Okay, let me clear. How do you handle it? And I want us to contribute here. How do you handle it if an employee comes to you as the HR and says that the CEO is sexually harassing them, and then it's been going on, and this is the CEO, and you report to the CEO? How do we handle it as HR? What would you do? If you're an HR, how will you handle it? I'll need feedback. I'll need some people to put it. So as HR, what will you do? An employee has come to report to you that our big Ogao, Bam Bam, the one that is paying our salaries, is the one that is currently saying, Auntie, I like you. I like you. I like your eye. He started from I like your eye to I like your this. And like the comment somebody made earlier, and then they're not finding it funny anymore. How do you handle it? If it's me, I think I've always been, I can be diplomatic, but I can be very frank. If it's me, I will tell this person, well, have you had time to speak with this person? If he says no, I'll tell them, sit with this person and tell them you appreciate them, you appreciate the fact that they like you, but you're not very comfortable with that kind of okay, I'm coming, Francis, that I'm not very comfortable. I'm going to tell this person that, let them know you're not very comfortable with this. But if it has become the case of you either do it or you do it or you are out, I might go to this person, this CEO. Although by this time also me too, I'm telling myself, if I, like Esther, if I die, if I perish, I perish. And I might have to go there to say, okay, this person has reported this and this has happened and everything. I know that it might happen that even me, I'll be on my way out. But because somebody has to let, sorry to use that word, somebody has to let a madman know that he's mad. If everybody is saying, no, you're fine, you're just touching, then they will not know that they're mad. But when you tell them the truth, maybe they will change their ways. But if that doesn't work, and if I feel that, oh, because I'm protecting my job, I cannot speak to him, then we just say we do the whistleblowing system. So let me see what Francis writes. He said, I think women should be mindful of often they solicit money from men. Well, it depends. It's not every woman. I don't know the women that solicit funds from their colleagues. I think that also is very wrong. I've never done it. I will be asking my colleague for money. My colleague is earning, I'm earning. So if ladies are doing that, maybe they too are opening themselves up, and that's coming from a guy. So it must be that you've seen ladies or you've experienced ladies always asking money. Now, if you have collected too, and somebody wants to give you again, it's difficult to now say you don't want the other one. So yes, thank you for writing that. Maybe women also, we can do better. They cannot be asking your colleagues for money all the time. Come and buy hair for me now. Yeah, come and buy food for me. Please be self-sufficient. Everybody is collecting salary. If your own salary is not enough, look for extra source of income. Very, very important. So support and resources in the case of sexual harassment, internal resources. So HR and grievance redressal mechanism. So if this is reported, then HR will have to take it up, reporting to HR, and HR is expected to take this up, investigate, because it's not, you don't take the word of the person who's complaining. It's not like you're going to doubt it, but then it's good to also investigate, because there have been cases where people claim harassment, whereas it is not true. You want to investigate, so give time, take the report, find time to investigate, using all means, third party, without letting anybody know what's going on. Nobody even has to know this thing. That way you know what is true, what is not true, and then HR can now take them through every redressal mechanism available according to the policy. Now, there are times when some things happen and we know that policies keep growing. Sometimes we have it on ground, sometimes when the happening, it has happened. Please, if this happens and it's not there, please document when we've gone through this process and then add it to the policy, and let that be an update that will be communicated immediately. And then, of course, internal resources that can help in cases of sexual harassment is employee assistance programs, and it can be as simple as just having a mystery bag, or a box where people can drop their concerns, and then HR can pick it without name, and say, okay, maybe pick it and see that, oh, this is going on, and I need it to be this thing, or I cannot come to you, whatever. Very, very important. And of course, the legal options. If you cannot handle it, then maybe you may want to start filing complaints with organizations that can help. I know that in Nigeria that there's some organizations that help with sexual harassment. You may want to then maybe to be the options to go for or police report. Except that police report sometimes, I'd rather report to a lawyer. And if I have a family that is in the army, yes. But police reports, again, on this line, we've had a case where something happened. It wasn't sexual harassment. It was an abuse with one of our members, and then it became a police case. And trust me, we all knew how that happened. The case didn't finish. Police took the side of the person. Police will always follow the ISB, that it's always the person who can give the most money that the police will follow. But as much as possible, yes, we have to follow legal options and reports, and then maybe get a lawyer in the house too. Somebody say, what would soldier do? Soldier can do a lot so imagine, soldier can do a lot that police will not do. Now, soldiers are very, very, very ruthless when they have to deal with somebody who is erring. So for soldiers, if for example, I know a soldier, and then he's my uncle or whatever, and then I report, they can come and pick the person. And it's not a case of write report and somebody say, yeah, give us 3,000 naira for writing report. No, the person will spell their names, and they may be tortured. Is that the best way to handle it? Certainly no. But when somebody has more power than you and you're powerless against the person, and they're using their power to oppress the person, if you two can find a higher power than theirs, it might be good to use it. Let's even up and let everybody be happy and not happy. Or sometimes some people needs to be taught some great lessons. May not be very, very legal, but they won't do much. That is, they can get them to, even if it's to get them to to give them a stay away order, that might just help, and let them know that they cannot fire you. So they are there. Although most times when even that happens, and if the people that the kind of person that has that power, it's better to just take your bag and run away, because they cannot fire you, but the person may not have a good life in that company. So let's go on. So creating a safe work environment. How do we create? This is now coming to us as HR people. The culture of respect. When we are creating a culture, the culture of any organization, we have to create it. Any organization where I work, I always, even as small as the F word is not allowed. And it's communicated, documented. So culture of respect, it's not, respect is not brother Ade, we have come to work, or Mrs. Grace, Madam Grace. Anywhere I've worked, I don't like that, Madam. I know, oh, yes, I'm fat. Oh, no, I'm not fat. I'm just occupying a lot of space. And people want to call me Madam Grace. I always tell them, call me OG. That's my name, Oluwalola Grace, OG. And then it becomes like, oh, OG for a reason and everything. So even though my name is OG, I still maintain that you cannot disrespect me, and I don't disrespect people. So create that culture of respect for everyone. So, and then promote inclusive language and behavior, recognizing and rewarding respectful leadership. And when we talk about culture, it starts from above, not from HR's office. It starts from the people who hired us, making them know that this is what, and of course, communication. This is how we think. This is how we think. I've worked in a place where the CEO's cousin was very, very wonderful. When I say wonderful, not in a good way, is the kind of person that uses swear word in Yoruba and in English together. It can come to the office, start shouting, saying nonsense and everything. And honestly, I had to go to the CEO to say, you see this your brother that is always coming. Could you please talk to him? Put fear or pick them to the barracks. Yes, so is that I had to tell him that this is your brother that is always coming. I'm going to ban him from coming here. And I told him, tell him the kind of organization you're building is not a place where somebody will come and say, because those were his words. And it couldn't say it. I told him, I said, sir, you cannot be saying. And eventually, at the point, he came to work with us on some projects. And when he starts, I'm not comfortable. And with time, I had to tell him this is this thing. And everybody knew. And for every meeting, I always say it, guys, and it was an engineering company. We had a lot of field workers. So it's not blue. Which one is white collar? It's blue collar. So it's not a lot of education and everything. But even that, it still comes. So when we are creating a place, a safe place, we have to create a place where people respect themselves. Very, very important. Where people are respected from up to down, where people can have freedom of speech, or even if they cannot say it, where they can drop something in a box, where they can fill anonymous forms that can help to report things they're going through. And then we also create a zero tolerance policy. Let's be clear, very, very clear. There's the book I love to read. This part of it says write division and make it very plain so that anybody that sees it can run with it. Make it very clear that this is not allowed, and implement a clear disciplinary measure for misconduct. Very, very important. And model ethical behavior. I always tell, one of the places I've worked in the past, my boss, the CEO, was not married. And in this case, it was some of the ladies that were doing weke around him. And I remember one of them like, these ladies, I know you're working with ladies and everything. What is even, and I'd say, what is even your outlook to dating staff? And he said, no, I can't do that, because I will not have a say. I don't mix this. And I was like, thank God, because I knew I was afraid, because all the girls were positioning themselves graciously. You have to start praying for him that, Lord, give him a wife. And God answered the prayer, hallelujah. implement clear disciplinary measures for misconduct. Let people know that when this happens, this will happen. And the times where you have to train people to know, train leaders to know that it is not until it is the do that it is harassment, even from the words, the looks and everything, the also elicited compliments, like the very ridiculous one that one of the ladies put there. How can you be making compliments about somebody's boobs? That's very, 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 very disrespectful. So also training leaders in the system, the team leaders, the supervisors, the managers, the senior managers, depending on the kind of structure, that those kind of compliments are not allowed, and it's not the word that we use in the workplace. And the times when it's even not just the leaders, we're saying leaders so that leaders can cascade that information to everyone. But we have to make sure that it is known, and it's so the policies have to be put in place. And then we also need to create a place where people who witness things or suspect things can quickly report and document it. Very important. So if the person who is being harassed cannot report and somebody is noticing it, so the perpetrator is as guilty as the person who is noticing it and not reporting, because they're the one that are enabling that person. So we must not be the enabler in the workplace. And as HR, I've heard a situation where somebody went to report to HR and said, oh, this person is harassing me, whatever about it. And what HR said, now HR is a woman, HR is a woman, one of our churchy sisters said, hey, why wouldn't they harass you? Why you two will be coming with short skirts to work? I don't know who you are coming to chase. You come to with short skirts, you see what you are putting on, it's showing all your this thing. The question is there a dress code for the organization? If there's no dress code, that don't wear short skirts, it's not a church. We're not moral police, we're human resources people. So for somebody who was saying, why wouldn't it happen? They've not taken a step to address the situation. It is not because the person dressed the way they dress. That's why the person that is harassing them is harassing them. Why are they not harassing the mad women who are stark naked on the road? At least that one is even showing more. It's because there's control. They can use that self-control. So it's not like because of what they are saying. It's not because of the way the ladies are dressed. It's because the men who are doing it lack self-discipline. And because they lack it, they should be taken through the required disciplinary process if that happens. I hope we're learning something. So for somebody who has gone through sexual harassment, what do they do? How do they handle it? Because it can be very, very traumatizing, especially when it's coming from a place where you cannot speak up. I've heard situations where it is even the ones in the household of faith that are doing it. They're working with someone in ministry who holds the microphone on some of the days, and then behind the closed doors, they are harassing the staff. And it's difficult. It may be because even when you report it, nobody will believe. In Nigeria of today, if you want to find out, put something like that on social media. The next thing you hear people say, the God of my father will thunder you. It's different funny things that people will say. Our father is this. So how do we handle it for someone who's gone through this? Maybe eventually they lost their jobs because they didn't want to comply with what this abuser is doing. They left their job. Somebody put it there that they had to leave a job. Now their job hunting. We don't even know how they survive it just because one person cannot tame their bodies. So how do we deal with trauma? Let's recognize that there will be anxiety, there might be nightmares, there may be flashbacks, there might be depression. Such a person may not even have what to eat because they've left a job. And if that happens, let us recognize it. Those flashbacks, those inability to sleep, those inability to sleep, those anorexia or excessive eating. Let's understand it. And if we have to go for therapy, let's go for therapy if that is what will help. Let's go for therapy. Let's find support groups to join because we have to deal with it. Because there's sometimes when these things even go as far as even a rape in the workplace, it happens. Either it got that bad or it didn't get that bad. It's traumatic. And then when that happens, we should allow ourselves to feel and process that emotion. Very, very important. Let's allow ourselves to feel it. Let's identify it. Let's understand it. Let's process it. And that is not, and for those of us who may have friends or family going through this, that is not when to blame anybody. That is not, we cannot blame somebody for being fine. Nobody will leave their fineness at home because they're going to work. That is not when to cast blame. That is not when to say that. Sometimes a silence is speaking. It's not every time that you render your voice. Sometimes shutting up and looking and just maybe putting their head on the shoulder may just be what they need, not saying, God will do it, God will thunder. No. There are times, identify what they're going through and see how you can support that if it's from the support side. And if it's from the victim side, know how you cope with trauma, and then allow the emotion. Like I said, you may meditate, you may journal, you may join support group. And I'll say, go for therapy. It is that can just help. Cry if you have to cry, shout if you have to shout, or if you can get out of it as soon as possible. And as soon as you get the correct support, we can exercise, rest. Some people, they tend to eat a lot of junks when they're stressed, people like me. If you can try and work on that, very, very important, so that you don't pile on weight that will affect health. And by all means, take a breath and leave. And then assure yourself it's not anything you've done wrong. It's just someone who does not have respect for themselves. And then move on. There will always be another job. There will always be another opportunity. And there will be somebody who will value what we bring to the table beyond what our body is. We're bringing brain to the table. We're bringing skill. We're bringing our experiences to the table. We're not bringing our bodies to the table. There will be somebody that will appreciate that and that will be willing to pay for that. I hope we're together. So, professional framework for handling sexual harassment and redress. This is a structured framework that we can use to handle sexual assault cases in the workplace. Number one is prevention. This is like summary of what we've discussed. Prevention. So put policies in place, train people on the policy, communicate the policy, let it be clear, very, very clear, and create awareness in this company. These are the things. Can have a program like for it, or training session for it. This is what we consider to be abuse. This is when somebody does not consent, when it is not consensual, it becomes an abuse. Some people may not know until when you go through such training that this is a part of harassment. And so that is ways we can prevent, and then of course report through multiple channels. You can report through any way, the normal process of reporting in your organization if you have one. And then of course you can report directly to HR, and if it is HR, find someone higher in the organization who understands, who is also not like an accomplice or an enabler. Report out, do an anonymous report. Very, very important. Of course, protection. immediate safety of complainants must be ensured when they report such a case, especially when it involves someone who can do and undo, like they say in this part of the world, who can do and undo. Please ensure their safety, very, very important. And then, of course, when we're investigating, let us be as neutral as possible. If we're not sure, let's have a third-party investigator. But if we must investigate, let us make it as neutral as possible. Very important. And of course, if there needs to be resolution, when of course after investigation, let us have a resolution and let's do sanctions as per policy. That's why we must have policies that we keep updating from time to time. And resolution, let's do it as per policy, including legal action. So that, like I said, there are times when my lords may have to be involved. That's very, very important. Of course, redress, psychological support, non-retaliation enforcement. So the times where we have to create an environment where people are psychologically supported. People knows that they can be supported, and when this happens, as HR people, we must provide support and make sure that the non-retaliation enforcement is put in place. They cannot victimize the victim again, or if we have to do a stay order or something, we must make sure that is there. And of course, we must continue to review our policy from time, continuous improvement and documentation of lessons learned. So, like I said, it may not have happened before. Now we are noticing it. Let's quickly communicate it. Let's investigate, resolve, update that in the policy. And when we do this policy, communicate it again. It's very, very important. I noticed somebody put something here just to be sure. Okay. So why did his complaint about neglecting a job and going against the policy come from Chibodem for sexual advances? Okay, I think there's something here. Okay, let me quickly, I think we're getting to the end, and we can go through the questions and then we can have a discussion if that's okay. So, in conclusion, sexual assault in the workplace is a serious violation that must be addressed on both individual and organizational levels. Women and men must be empowered not just to protect themselves, but to lead change in making workplaces safer for everyone. By fostering awareness, strengthening support systems, and creating policies that work, we build not just careers, but we are building dignity, we're building safety, and we're building equality. Thank you, everyone. So I'll stop sharing now so that we can take questions, and then I can see some of those beautiful things that you have written in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very excellent presentation. We also like to take some contributions, not just questions. Maybe you want to provide some additional tips on how to, for example, identify signs to watch out for or how to mitigate, or you want to share your personal experience or the experience of a close friend or relations or colleague. Please don't mention any organization, and please don't mention any name, please. Thank you so much. All right. Checking the chat box, and if you just want to speak, please raise your hands. It will be good to put some voices to some of the thoughts. Thank you so much, ma. Very thorough presentation. Very robust.
Thank you, sir.
There are many on this call. We should have some comments, some contributions, some. Olichi, you like to say something? And if you have a question around the subject matter.
It's a contribution.
Please go ahead, my sister. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking us through this and reminding us of some things we should do. Sometimes I think even with the policies in place too, HR is handicapped. There's an experience I want to share where HR did a survey among other things in the organization, how do you like to be rewarded, blah, blah, blah. Then added, have you been sexually harassed or something, something, something. At the end of the day, when the survey was collated, I think two people responded that they've been sexually harassed. And both those two people were under HR department from the survey, because the survey needs to tick your department. And the head of HR at that point, for whatever reason, said, oh, okay, next. And they moved to the next thing. So when I shared that experience with a senior colleague outside the organization, that this is what has just happened, what happened, this was about a month or so later, the senior colleague said, oh, that wasn't the reason for the survey. That wasn't the KPI for the survey. So that was why, So you can imagine what the members of the department felt, that out of the entire organization, only two people from HR, said they've been harassed, and even HR couldn't even help themselves by, addressing it and all. So I think sometimes HR too, for whatever reason, they are handicapped. Like you rightly said, if you feel you can't speak up, nothing can be done. You activate your plan B. It's not just men, women. Also, it cuts across board. Then again, talking about dress code. Currently, I'm in Zambia, and there's a way we dress here. Putting on, we are all adults, so putting on a brassiere is not a must for women. So yes, it's not. So in my organization, it is a must. Like we sound it 24 hours, 7 days. You must, do that. So if you're going to get people from outside the country, there are certain things that might not be there. You need to experience it to know. Then you add it to your policies and all that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oluchi. Before my sister, Madam Grace, reacts or respond to all the beautiful things you have said, I don't want to mention what you mentioned, but I want to ask, are you sure you didn't take your Nigerian mindset to Zambia to insert that must?
No, it's just how they are. So when I first got to Zambia, that was the first thing I was told. I wasn't even told welcome to wherever. The first thing I was told is, now I'm going to behave like a sexually harassed person. The first thing I was told was that. And it was a man telling me, and I said, why is he telling me this sort of a thing? Like I felt this man, something must be wrong with him. That was the first thing I was told, but I started paying attention, and he wasn't wrong. So we included that in our induction. So if you're coming into our company, please, you must wear this. And you get to work, some people don't wear, we send them home. So it's a cultural thing too. So if, it's not a Nigerian sense, but it's a
Okay, I
cultural
was
thing.
just curious because if it is culturally accepted generally in Zambia, then everybody will be okay. As in, what's the big deal
No,
from
because
that country?
you still have some of the men among them complain, but it's enough. You go to church, it's not just at work. You go to church, you see it in church. So it's not like it's only happening in the workplace.
Thank you for sharing. At least the good thing is that Zambia is not Europe or the Western world. All right, Olale, you have the floor. Please make sure your environment is quiet as you contribute, please. All right, Olale, please. You have the floor. Please move to a quiet place to contribute. Okay, maybe Olaiton's hands are up by mistake. Let's help him put it down so that it won't pain him. Madam, your reactions and comments, please.
Well, the Zambia thing, it's it's in two ways. When you look at it, okay, when you look at it from the part that it's not a law, it's what everybody does. Someone is unmuted. Okay, I think it's Ola.
Please, let's go ahead. The background is noisy.
Oh, okay. So when you look at the Zambia case that everybody does it, I think it's a bit dicey, and that's why I think it's the doctor that said you brought your Nigerian mentality there, and either you tell them to not wear it, or they tell them to wear it. I think both may be right. Now, because for them to be able to even dress like that to church, and the priest will not send them out of the church, then it's allowed, it's permitted. You may not feel comfortable with it. And the fact that the men are complaining, I guess you are looking, and I may be wrong, but it's more from the place of where you're coming from that made you to do that law that no, you come here, you wear your bra, which is reasonable, very, very reasonable. Imagine those who are very, very endowed and everything is now like here and there. So that's for the principle of decency, yes. But if you don't, even if you don't put that rule in place, you will still not be wrong. Because like I said earlier, it is not because if you cannot say because they're not putting on bra, the guys might start like making advances at them or sexually harassing them. No, I said something earlier. It's because and this is mad women, they don't wear clothes. So you don't need to peek under the clothes to see what they look like. How come these men are not attracted to them? So it is not about what the female is putting on that will make a man to want to be, oh yeah, you can see a lady and you like them. Well, there's a place of self-control that comes from sound mind that will make you know that no, it's a no-go area. Oh, I'm not saying, oh, male, female, both single, they can want to mingle. And even if you want to single and mingle, if the person is not interested to be your friend, know where to back off. But for this Tanzania issue, it's two sides of the coin. If I was there, I mean, maybe I wouldn't have bothered, since I know that is what they do. And because there's no law saying don't wear bra. There's no law saying wear bra. It is what everybody does. It is their culture. Again, we have to, when we do global HR thingy, we have to look at the culture and the law of the place where we're doing our work and adapt. So if I was there, if you like, don't wear bra. Me, I will wear my bra shirt. Or if you like, don't wear bra. Well, it's a good thing you're able to bring that policy in place and they appreciate it and then they accept it. And then when you send them home, they've not spoken to their lawyers, is a good thing. But it can happen. So either whichever way, it's what wearing bra is not why there should be harassment or not. Because how come the church, people in the church are not harassing them too? I hope that's if it is called which is changing, there's a difference between wearing transparent and non-transparent. Okay, someone, let me see what is written here. It is a culture, not law. Any other country. Okay. Some incidents must have prompted them to make wearing bras compulsory. Okay, yes. If something had happened, and then it is now like tied to this, then maybe then it becomes, let's say, if the policy says they must wear, it's either they need a job or they don't need a job. Okay, somebody is saying some claim it gives breast cancer. It is majority. Some claim it's big breast cancer. My mother wore bra throughout her life. She didn't have cancer. Okay, so what if customer does not wear bra? Will you reject money? You cannot. Oh. The company will send you away with your morality. I say, who send you? Very, very important. Any other questions or contributions before we close? Any other questions or contributions? All right. If there's no question, I'll say we've done a good work today. Thank you for being part of today. I'll hand over back to the big boss. Doctor, over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam. This was excellent. Many, many, many insights. Very thoughtful. Again, please feel free to share this webinar with any female colleague or anybody who may be going through this. Again, let me just add that they are free to reach out for support. Before I repeat a quote from Madame, let me say that, sometimes there are some escalations or attempted escalations you can make. Let me give you an example. If the person is in a professional body and you mention something like, I will petition, so let's say the person is an engineer, and you say something like, if you don't desist, I may petition CORE or Nigerian Bar Association, or it has a way of resetting the mind of some of the perpetrators, maybe not all, because it now dawned on them that if this thing goes to the regulator or to the body they belong to, even if they come out innocent, there's a way it tarnishes your image. Many people may hear the petition, they may not hear that you are exonerated. There may also be some senior people around them, or if it's an organization that has a board, okay, or sometimes it may be a key supplier, a key customer that you can report to. I'm just trying to open our eyes and mind to the fact that sometimes the reporting channel may not be a normal one. So if there is a key customer, maybe it's a woman, and then you report, by the time that customer draws the person's attention, chances that they will want to joke with the customer because of that. And they will, so don't just say, oh, it's the boss, there's nobody to report to. Check again. Check again. It may be formal, it may be informal. And my final statements will be, and this is a statement I picked from our amiable facilitator today, Madam Grace Oluwalola, and she said, we bring our thinking to the table. We bring our thoughts to the table. We bring our mind to the table. We bring our expertise to the table. We bring our competence to the table. We bring our professionalism to the table. Our body is not on the table. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining tonight. Call it a wrap. Good night. Let's unmute right now and celebrate our facilitator. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, there's no sexual harassment. You can say it anyhow.
Thank you.
You can give her hug. She loves us.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
We love
Three
you,
hugs
ma.
from here.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please
Thank
come
you for the
again.
presentation, ma.
Thank you, OG.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I got me. My name is OG.
Yes, don't call her madam.
Yes, so
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. God bless.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you.